Hello everyone and welcome to my Polish cuisine. Today I am making baked beans. In English, in Polish we call this fasolka po bretońsku. It is our comfort food, especially on those cooler days, like fall days, winter days. And usually we make more of it so that we can also preserve it and pasteurize it and have it for those days when we have to work longer or we don't have anything in the fridge. And this we can always grab a jar of, reheat it, and have it ready for those days. And the ingredients for this are, I have here Lima beans, and this has been soaking since yesterday, so overnight. I have 450 grams of this, or 1 pound, and this is fasola piękny jaś, as they call it. So we're gonna cook it. I have a few tomatoes from my yard, which I'm gonna cut into it as well. I have 1.5 large onions. I cut it up. And the meat. This is the smoked neck. So any smoked meat will do. Like sausage, I like the no preservative Polish sausage. That's excellent as well. Bacon, and that of course has a lot of fat. So try to trim some fat off of this. But it is best with the smoked meat. If you don't like it, you can always substitute. This has some fat in it, and I'm gonna cut some out. Well, here I have a little bit over 1 kilogram of that. I have some salt. That's only to taste, because remember that the smoked meat is gonna be pretty salty. I have 3 garlic cloves. I have about 1 tablespoon of marjoram. Here I have allspice grains and also peppercorns with it. I have some chili powder here, and just a little bit of it. If you don't like it too bland, you can always put in a little spice to it. Very important is kind of like diced tomatoes into it. Also some tomato sauce and tomato paste. And I'll put the ingredient list right below this video so that you can view it. And then there's also a process of pasteurization for this. And if you want to keep this dish a little bit longer than a few weeks, because I know we'll eat ours in a matter of a few weeks, but if you're making a larger portion maybe, or if you want to save it, preserve it over the winter months, then there's a process called tyndallization. And basically what it is, it involves heating a substance like multiple times with any resting periods in between each cycle. So it has to be done it has to be pasteurized for 3 days. And I know it's extensive, but because it has meat in it, and if you want it for the winter months and even a year, then you're gonna have to do it that way. And here I have 1.5 liters of water. So the first thing I'm gonna do is place the lima beans in the pot. And I'm going to cook this beans until it's relatively soft. It's been soaking overnight, so it's pretty soft, but just enough so that we can chew on it and eat it. Probably will take about 40 minutes, maybe to 1 hour, depending on the age of these beans. So I don't put anything in here. I'm just gonna cover it up, put it over high heat, and then I will reduce high heat to low to simmer when the water boils. So here is the lima bean. I'm putting this over high heat. I'm going to cover it up and wait for it to come to boil, then we can put it on low heat. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut up the meat. I'm going to cut it in bite-sized portions. I'm gonna get rid of the fat as much as I can. And the rest goes into the pot where I'm gonna cook this. Just getting rid of the excess fat on here. So I've cut up my meat. Now I'm gonna go to the stove and put it over medium heat and start sauteing it. If you need to put some oil in here, that's okay. I don't think I need any oil because of the fat in here, and I just want it to kind of melt down and without the oil, and then start to add all the ingredients to it. Now I have my meat here. This is smoked pork neck, and I'm going to try to brown it a little bit. So let's wait till it browns a little bit, then we'll add the onion to it. And as you can tell that the fat is reducing really nicely. Once that's gone, I'm gonna place the onion in. And now I'm going to add to this the chopped onion. I'll let this all fry for a few minutes and then add the garlic. When the onion becomes translucent, I'm going to add my chopped up garlic. Mix it well. Now to this, I am going to add my spices. So my bay leaf, my allspice, and the pepper cloves. Also some chili powder. And next I'm going to add my homegrown tomatoes from the garden. It adds a wonderful taste. And the next thing I add are the crushed or diced tomatoes. And I will stir this all in. And it smells amazing. Now in goes the tomato sauce. Give it a good stir. And then now in go the tomato paste, the marjoram, mix this all well. And I'm going to cover this and cook it over just a low heat, simmer it for about 10 minutes to 15 minutes. And then once the lima beans is cooked and tender, we can add it to here. And now I am transferring the lima beans. And to mix it all well. After cooking the lima beans now for about 10 minutes, it is time to taste it. And they do need a little bit of salt. So now let's stir this all up again. Taste test again. And this is perfect now. So I'm gonna take it off heat and place it in the jars. And I am not going to use all of it, so I have to pasteurize some of it. So here is what I do. I have my jars here ready to be filled, and while the dish is still hot, I pour it in to my the containers. And I know that I will eat those, or will eat those in a matter of 2 weeks max. So I would just pasteurize this for about 2 weeks max without using the stove or without pasteurizing it differently than what I'm doing now, is I'm just pouring in the hot lima beans and then closing it off. And you can place this in a refrigerator for a couple of weeks, and this will be perfectly fine. Otherwise, you have to, and if you want to pasteurize this for a longer amount of time, then you have to use the tandalization process, which is a 3-day pasteurization process. So these don't have to be cooked. Just make sure that the lids are on there, cleaned. And they will suck in after a few hours, or once they are cooled. And you can store these in the refrigerator. Otherwise, you couldn't store this for 2 weeks because it may spoil due to the meat contents. Make sure that the lids are tight. I'm gonna try them again. Be careful, it's really hot. We'll let these cool down. So if you like this recipe, please give me the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And thank you for watching.